Ladies and gentlemen, this video will help you understand Natro Macro hourly reports. And just before we start, I want you to keep in mind subscribing is free, but only subscribe if I help you from this video. Now, if you have connected Natro Macro to a Discord webhook, you will get an hourly report that looks like this. If you are unsure how to get an hourly report, watch my Discord webhook guide. The link is in the description and it will also be at the end of this video. Okay, so just getting straight into it, this is a honey chart at the top, and you can see how much you make while gathering and converting. Okay, now if we take a look over to the right, we can see a pie graph, which will show you the exact amount of time in the last hour you were gathering, converting, or doing other things. These other things include walking to hive, collecting planters, killing mobs, etc. Above the pie graph, you can see how much honey you earned, and the hourly average of honey you've made. Here my hourly average says 250 trillion, which is wrong, but I'll get into this in a second. Below the last hour data is the session data. Similar to before, everything is the same, but it's the overall session. When you stop Natro, the session will reset starting from 0 seconds. But this is good because you can see the session time, which can then tell you how much honey you made in a certain amount of time. Now, as I said before, up here with the last hour, the hourly average was a bit glitched. This is a reason to why my session honey says 2.4 quadrillion. It's not because I made that much, although I wish I did. It's because sometimes this can mess up. It very rarely happens and usually has a cause, like pausing Natro with F2, spending a lot of honey, or gaining a lot of honey. And then obviously unpausing and letting Natro run. Or it just could be a simple detection error by Natro. If this ever happens, just restart Natro and it should be good to go. And I forgot to mention, under the pie graph is another simple graph which just shows you how much honey you've gained in the last hour. So as you can see from me, I've started at 2.418 quadrillion at the start of the hour, and by the end I'm at 2.422 quadrillion. And then back to this session graph. This is normally blue, but because I mentioned before the session's sort of glitched, it's literally just straight up because it thinks I started from 0 and went from 2.4 quad. That is not what happened. I've only made like 60 trillion this session. So realistically, it should look like an exponential curve going up. Okay, and underneath the session is the buff. Here you can see your wealth clock, balloon blessing, bubble bloat, tide blessing, and Mondo Chick. If you don't have any of these buffs, it will just be slightly grayed out like a Mondo Chick is here. You can also see your nectar percentages. Some of the nectars here, such as refreshing and invigorating, have percentages underneath them. This happens when you have planters already placed, and Natro estimates the percentage of nectar you will gain when it's collected. Talking about planters, underneath here you have your planters that are currently placed down, and it shows you what nectars you will get from them, what field they are in, and the time that's left until Natro is going to claim them. And scrolling down further, you have the stats. It shows quite a few stats, such as bug kills, vicious bee kills, disconnects, which is a stat to see how many times Roblox has disconnected and Natro has rejoined for you. And scrolling down to the bottom right, we just have some basic info that Natro needs to run. Okay, so the top part and the right side, you should all have a pretty basic understanding of them all. And here is where we have your backpack capacity, which it shows how much percent you're filling at what time. The color resembles the color of your bag in the real game, such as almost having a full bag in the game is red. It is also red on this hourly report. Now here we have the biggest part of this hourly report. It is the buff uptime. So this shows you a lot of different buffs from blue, red, and white pollen boost, haste, focus, bomb combo, balloon blessing, inspire buff. I can't lie, I forgot what this is called. I believe it's a reindeer guidance buff. And here we have honey marks, pollen marks, festive wreath marks, pop start, melody, bear bee, baby love, even jelly bean blessing, and then guiding star. Now I'm not going to individually say all of these, but all the ones you can see now, pollen boost to the reindeer guidance, they all work the same. So at the bottom of the graph, you have the time. I'm going to talk about the focus buff to give this example, as it's probably the most simplest one. So if the line's at the top, it means your focus at that time was times 10. If it's at the bottom, it means the focus at the time was 0. So you had no focus. And if it's in the middle or slightly above, it could mean 5, 6, 7, and below, obviously below 5. And if I zoom in on the focus, you can see there's a number there. And there's also numbers on all the other ones that are slightly different. As you can see here, it's times 8.642. It's very precise, but it's just averaged out on how much focus I had for the whole hour. And that goes the same with reindeer guidance, inspire, etc. And even balloon aura. I think I said balloon blessing before, but this is called balloon aura. You get this when you stand under balloons. Now, scrolling down here, you have all these, which I mentioned before. And this is just here to show you when the buff was activated at what time. Such as it's showing you how many times Popstar activated. Same goes for all the other things here. Such as another example, Melody. I pretty much had Melody all the time while I was in the field. So that's pretty much it on how to understand the hourly graphs. As I said at the start of the video, subscribing is free, but only subscribe if I help you from this video. So if I did help you from this video, subscribing would be very appreciated, and like the video if you want to. If I didn't help you, well, I'm sorry, I failed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments or join my Discord server. The link to that is in the description below. And like I also said at the start of the video, if you want to know how to set up the hourly report, watch this video here.